Hi, I'm Sophie-Marie Odum, Lifestyle Magazine's editor.
And I'm Samantha Renke, broadcaster and disability rights campaigner, and a huge welcome to the Motability Lifestyle Pod. In this podcast, we invite our friends from the disability community into the studio for a conversation about how we can all live our best lives, particularly when navigating a disabling world.
Just a reminder that if you're listening to us in the car, you can also watch the full episode on YouTube, complete with captions and British Sign Language. Also, make sure to click subscribe or follow wherever you're listening so you're the first to know about each new episode. This episode is a Christmas special.
Woo-hoo!
In a change to our usual format, the three of us will be getting festive in the studio while answering your questions, reflecting on our 2023 and discussing our best bits, which of course includes a bit of car chat with Matt, because our pod wouldn't be the same without him.
We're back. We've been reunited. I've missed you all incredibly.
Hi, Sam.
Hello, my darling So.
I've missed you.
I've missed you too. I'm so glad that we are back in the studio, looking a little bit more festive than normal. We have kind of pulled out the big guns for today. I mean, anywhere that I can go and work and get mulled wine presented to me on a silver platter, I mean, I'm quids in.
I know.
What more is there in life?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too. Although I'm not going to lie, I am loving my outfit at the moment. I'm wearing a red jumper dress. But by gosh, I forgot how hot this little studio is. So instead of snow, I'm going to be sweating like I'm in the Bahamas. Well, hey-ho, we're going to roll with it. It's fine.
You look good.
Oh, thank you very much. I think that powder... blotting powder. I should have not left that at home, but, it is what it is. It is what it is, Sophie.
So how have you been? What have you been up to?
My gosh. So I know that I've continuously talked about me moving out of London, and all the listeners are going to be like, is she still not gone yet? Blimmin' heck, is she actually making all this up? But the end is not, and now the end. Oh no, I can't probably sing because of copyright, but you get the gist. This is my when we're recording, as we are recording. This is my final week in London town. So a little bit bittersweet. So my house looks like a jumble sale, which my cats are absolutely adoring because they can literally reach the ceilings now because they're jumping all over the place. But I have been busy.
Yes.
I can't even remember what I've been up to, but I have been busy.
That's how you know you've been busy, when you can't even remember what you've been up to.
You know what? One of the highlights that I've been working on recently is working with a fantastic charity, Sense, that support people who are visually impaired who are blind, and they had their Sense Awards 2023. And it was pre-recorded, so I don't know why they trusted me with this, because I cannot keep a secret for the love of God, to be quite, honestly, I'm terrible, but it was pre-recorded, so I obviously knew who the winners were going to be, so I had to keep completely stum for a very, very long time. I managed it, but you know what was really nice, and I think this is something that we have talked about a lot throughout the series, is kind of really challenging yourself, always pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And I absolutely did, because I have been petrified. Although I've worked in TV for so long, I've never done auto cue, and it was one of those points of just utter fear, and I've always avoided it. And before the pandemic, I got offered by ITV to go into the studio and had auto cue training, and then the pandemic happened, and then we all know how that story goes. But when I arrived for the Sense Awards, there was an auto cue, and I was sweating like I am now, sweating, and I did it, and do you know what? I blinking loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed the whole experience because the team were great. But I challenged myself and I pushed myself out of my comfort zone. So you don't have to wait till the new year for New Year's resolutions. You can kind of give yourself those little hurdles to overcome all the way through the year. So yes, and congratulations to all the winners and everyone who took part in the Sense Awards. You were all incredible. So yeah, well done to everyone, and well done to me for doing auto cue.
Well done, yeah.
How do you get to control the speed of it?
So somebody does that for you. So you can, which is really great, because I know other broadcasters are dyslexic, so that they can make the font much bigger. They can slow it down to your pace. So you know, it's not as intimidating as you thought. But again, it was a whole new experience. So yes, who knows? I might be reading the 10 o'clock news before move out the way. Mary Nightingale. Can I just say, Mary's a lovely friend of mine, so I can say that. But yeah, who knows?
Exciting times. Matt, what have you been up to?
I've been driving cars, writing about cars,
Standard.
reading about cars,
Do you do anything else,
looking
Matt?
at cars. I'm getting a baby in and out of
Oh,
cars.
there
I
you
get a
go.
lot of time these
I was
days.
gonna say caressing cars.
Oh dear, I missed you, Sam. Just always going off topic.
Always lowering the tone. You thought you were going to get a wholesome Christmas edition.
Silly me.
Yeah. So bring us back to normality,
Okay,
please.
well, I'll just talk about what we've been up to in lifestyle. It's been a busy time. We've been in Scotland. We were at the big event where we got to meet loads of listeners and readers. We got to do like a special photo shoot where visitors to the big event got to come over to our stand and have their photo taken, and we got to mock up covers for them to take home, share on social media, or just keep as a family picture. We also got to meet our cover stars, Makoko, because they're based in Glasgow. They're a social enterprise that gives work experience to people that might have otherwise found it difficult to get into the workplace. Really good to meet them. Good to see the workshop as well, where they make candles and wax melts. We've also been nominated for 3 BSME awards, which
Nice.
stands for the British Society of Magazine Editors, one of which I was highly commended for.
Yay!
So very exciting. There were 2 Editor of the Years and 1 Cover of the Year. So it's really good to get that recognition. It's been a really good year for lifestyle. So
I did see the event that you had up in Scotland. I
Yes.
saw it online. I didn't really see my invite to that.
next year, Sam, you know we're working
Was
on
that
something.
just like
You know we're
Just
working
in
on
the post.
clerical error? Yeah. Is it the Christmas post? Did that?
something.
Yeah.
We had a
Was,
big
yeah.
picture of you.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
We had a big picture
Inflatable.
of you. Yeah.
Inflatable life-size Sam. I mean, that's fine. That's fine.
Sam, you throw me off again. I was going to move on to
Right.
reasons to be cheerful because we're talking about good things.
Reasons to be cheerful.
So, it's a big date in the calendar for this month, isn't it?
Gosh.
We've got 2 big events happening.
On our way into the studio today, I said to you that I think kind of mid-September to December is my busiest work schedule. And that is predominantly because if we look at the disability calendar, there's so much going on, including we are in the heart of Disability History Month.
Yeah.
We've got International Day of Persons with Disabilities.
Yeah.
There's Inclusion Month. There's a whole host of other fabuloso events taking place that really showcase and highlight disability culture, our essence and our diversity and how, multifaceted we are. And for me, a highlight personally for me is History Month, because not only am I a little bit of a geek and I like to learn about, trailblazers gone by. One of my favourite trailblazers is Eliza Suggs. So she was around in the 1900s. She was a black disabled woman. She actually had brittle bones like myself. She was the daughter of a pastor. So obviously, can you imagine coming from a minority group, within a minority group in the 1900s, and she wrote a book called Shadows and Sunshine. And honestly, if any of you can get hold of that book, that it's absolutely beautiful. She writes a poem in there, Perfect Through Suffering, and it's just one of those, again, the ethos that we often talk about, that, we are often demonized as disabled people and we're often seen as a tragedy. But even Eliza, back in the 1900s, she saw that her disability was absolutely a gift from God, and she put that down. She wrote that and she said that what she brings, her optimism, what she brings actually has such a positive impact on the world. And it was emotional reading about her life, but how incredible she was. Also, it's a time to reflect on, where we are now. Are we doing enough? Have we really changed? Because if you think about it, the Disability Discrimination Act, that was only founded in 95, which is now the Equality Act. The Americans Disabilities Act, that was only in 1990. So in relative terms, disabled people have only been protected, for the past 30 years, 30 so years. Sorry, I really can't do math, quick math, about that, and that's kind of I think that just sets a tone of where we are in society, where we are with regards to systemic ableism. And it's really great to, we are going into the festive period. That's why it's so beautiful to reflect on our history. We rejoice, celebrate it, but also have that kind of, okay, right, let's never rest on our laurels, and let's keep pushing. And each year there is a different theme, and this theme, I believe, is disability, childhood and youth. And that is quite powerful. I've recently written in the Metro a piece on shame and feeling shame, feeling like a burden growing up, particularly if you were born with a disability. And I kind of shared some of my internalized ableism growing up, and it really resonated with a lot of my followers and a lot of my readers, because I think we tend not to confront such taboo subjects. So this is why, we can say that these calendar moments, these kind of events, we can challenge it and say, oh, they're incredibly tokenistic, and why we're doing it. Every week, every day, there's something to celebrate. National Dog Day, National this day. But I think it's really important that we do recognise these celebrations, because it's a part of our culture, and it's integral for having that positive cultural shift that we absolutely need.
Yes, I agree. And your column in the Metro is entitled, for those who want to go and read it online, it's called "I Was Only 4 When I First Felt Like a Burden." Is that correct?
It surely is.
And then International Day of Disabled Persons, which is on the 3rd of December. The main premise of this, for those who don't know, it's a united in action to rescue and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals for, with and by persons with disabilities. This is taken from the UN's website. Essentially, the day is about promoting the rights and well-being of persons with disabilities at every level of society and development, and to raise awareness. For those who are wondering, what are Sustainable Development Goals? They are basically global goals that by 2030, all people will enjoy peace and prosperity. And for those listening who want to find out more, there is a website. It's ukdhm, or one word, .org.
Yeah, and they're a great website. You can literally, they've got archives and archives of PDFs that you can download for content on all their previous Disability History Month celebrations. But of course, we've got a global event, International Day of Persons with Disabilities, which is a really interesting one, because obviously it's person first language, so it's a real even that, talking about that and how that fits in with disability culture is so important. But I really love that event as well, because actually it's on a global stage, and I think disabled people are often left, it's not about disability on that centre stage. And when you have a global event, it kind of makes everyone really kind of stand to attention, so to speak. So lots to celebrate, lots to be cheerful for, and just to be proud of being disabled. Let's, you might not always like your disability. You might not always, find comfort in a disabling world, because it can be blinking hard. But actually, a part of your identity, we should not shy away from it, even if sometimes there is darkness in it. And that's something that I definitely want to, celebrate moving into Christmas and New Year, is the pride that I have in a part of my identity.
Yes. Wonderful.
So
just to bring it back
there you go. All that on mulled wine.
Well done.
I did have a moment halfway through that I was like, oh, the mulled wine's gone to my head.
No. You were very coherent, don't worry. So just for those who want to find out more information about International Day of Disabled Persons, which is on the 3rd of December, you can visit idpwd.org. So will you be celebrating on that day in particular?
That will be my first day in my new home.
Wow.
So I will be celebrating in my own little way, I think.
With wine?
I mean, the chances are high to very high.
Good.
Yes. I'm so predictable, aren't I? My goodness me.
See, this is a Christmas special. It's probably a good time to have a look back at season 1 of the Lifestyle Pod. Were there any highlights for you guys? Any guests that particularly stood out? Any particular highlights for you?
For me, I feel like it's going to sound like a cliche, but the whole thing was a highlight for me, because it was my first time doing a pod. So I'm taking what you were going to say.
No, I thought you were going to go, obviously, working with
Wow,
Samantha.
that was coming. And obviously working with Samantha has been a joy as well. And this is the first time we actually met as well. And no one would have known that we just hit it off from the beginning. And, you know,
it'd be really awkward if we hated each other.
It's been a slog.
You just sit there and go, think of the money, think of the money.
But yeah, so it's just our chemistry, I think, has come alive, you know, through the podcast, which has been lovely. For me, standout moments were, I feel like all of them. I mean, I loved our Speed of Sight interview because of, again, how it was all founded and like the joy they bring to people who come to Speed of Sight for driving experiences who thought they could never drive before. Very similar philosophy to Motability, as we were saying. The Fats Timbo interview, our Dr. Hannah Barron-Brown interview.
Was great.
Yeah. I'm naming all of them now.
Yeah. There you go.
James Freeman. I missed anyone. But yeah, they were all great. What about you guys?
Do you want to go first, Sam?
I mean, of course, working with both of you. I think my jingles, my car.
That was going to be my thing. That's my favourite bit, is my little intro songs from Sam.
That was just so organic, wasn't it? You know, I mean, X Factor, here I come.
And it's different every time.
I think just working on a personal note, working in an environment that is so welcoming, and you know, when you're disabled and you have to be in a new environment, not just with people but the logistics, having a safe space, knowing that you know your needs are being met and you feel comfortable with the people that you're working with. I think that that shows in the way I'm able to present, if that makes sense. You know, it shows in the humour, it shows that I'm completely relaxed. So thank you to the whole team for doing that. But also, I remember one of the first episodes that we did, I had a really bad knee injury, and obviously I'm just to note, sidebar, no one forced me to come into work with a knee injury. I, like many disabled people, I mask and I cover up sometimes when I am not 100%, just because I want to get in on the action, to be honest. And I came in no shoes, stacked with pillows to like elevate my leg, and no knickers. And I think as soon as I came into the building, I think I announced to everyone that I saw, whether they were part of the team or not, hiya, I've not got any knickers on today. And I think that was just my nervous energy, but it kind of broke the ice. No, I mean, I hope so. You're both looking at me really.
Definitely broke the ice.
Did you have meetings with HR after I did that? Was that like a... Is anyone traumatised by Samantha Renke not wearing knickers? But yeah, I think just honestly, out of all the things that I get to do, and I'm very blessed in my career to have such a kind of plethora of activities, I think this has absolutely been my highlight. And I think that is because you've allowed me to speak so authentically on subjects that have been so important. And if I'm completely honest, subjects that are often censored or left out on other media platforms. So I've really embraced the opportunity just to get my community's voice out there in an organic way. So thank you, everyone. Thank you. And cheers to that!
Cheers! Matt, what's your...
I would say, I mean, I think one of the wonderful things about this podcast is the number of amazing people we've got to sort of meet and speak to, and just the stories that they have as well are brilliant. I mean, I guess personally for me, I love driving. I love going to a track and driving a car. So Speed of Sight was obviously a really cool one for me. But just hearing about sort of like Mark Ormrod and the adaptability that he was able to, the way he was able to sort of change things around is quite. I know you sort of go on a bit about people being inspiring or whatever, but it does it makes you think about how you can tackle things in your own life and change and adapt and cope, and just lots of interesting, inspiring people that we've been lucky enough to meet. It's been really good fun.
I've been really lucky, guys, and even the takeover episode with Catherine Maris
as
well.
Oh yeah,
that was super interesting.
So yes, actually, that was definitely a highlight of mine, because I found that conversation really fascinating, and it was really interesting. Now that in my local area, every time I come up to a docking station, I look for step-free access. I look for drop curbs and things. So I thought that was a really powerful. I learned a lot. I love that conversation. That was so full of knowledge. That was really powerful. So thank you to her.
And it was good to know that people are actually thinking about these problems, because it was it was a real big problem when we
Yes.
did that long drive a while back with
Yes.
Damien, one of our readers, and every single place we stopped at, there was an issue with charging. None of them were properly accessible at all. So for those of you who haven't seen the Catherine Maris episode,
Which you need to do immediately.
absolutely,
Thank you.
do listen to it immediately. Catherine Maris is the head of innovation for Motability Foundation, and she was telling us all about the wonderful stuff they're doing to help make charging points for electric cars more accessible. Obviously, there's a lot of people who are a bit worried about that because currently they aren't super accessible and everything's moving towards electric, albeit increasingly slowly. But yeah, it's just really, really good to know that people are thinking about those issues and there is work being done in that space to make those things more accessible, as they should have been from the start.
Absolutely. And some of the issues, so I live in central London at the moment, and we've got a lot of charging stations, for obvious reasons, and a lot of the curbs don't have drop curbs. So if you're a wheelchair user like myself, if you were to get out of your car to try and charge, you can't even physically access the charging station because there's just not, the pavements aren't sufficient. But I think one thing that stood out to me that she said, and obviously it is probably in the future, but there'll be charging in the ground. So you literally you wouldn't even physically have to get out of the car. Again, as a wheelchair user, that's a bit of a faff, if you're just charging. You'd simply drive over a docking station and it would charge. A bit like them little things that you put your phone on, that blew my mind. Blew my mind. I was like, wow. Anyhow, perfect.
Now, as it's our Christmas special, it's only right for us to get in the festive mood. As a first on this podcast, we've invited you, yes, you listening or watching, to send us your questions to answer. These are very fittingly in the form of Christmas crackers. Let's go.
Ooh.
So I physically can't pull crackers because I'm just a bit of a weakling.
Okay.
Having brittle bones and all. I know I'm anticlimactic. and this is how I get an extra present out of people. And I'm like, oh, I can't pull crackers. Give me more gifts. So I'm gonna let Matt pull mine.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go like that. So a big bang is gonna happen if anyone needs to mute.
Ready?
Ooh. Cool, that was loud. Yeah. What have we got? Right.
This is Sam's question.
I'll be honest, Sam, you're not missing out on much with Christmas crackers. It's like, you won't get a little screwdriver set that doesn't work.
Oh, I love a
It's a joke.
screwdriver
What have we got?
set.
That's a joke.
Oh, it's a joke. Okay, let's do the joke. What did the astronomer get when she lost the Christmas quiz? Anyone?
I'm German. I never get jokes or anything.
It was a constellation prize.
Oh.
Why is there not a question in there?
Hang on.
This has been the one.
I think there is. I think it was
there
hidden.
Is it hidden?
Come on, Matt. You've let everyone down.
Oh no, I'm making a meal of this. Here we go. I've got one. Oh, okay. This is one for me, apparently. Would you buy an electric car? Oh, right. There's a question. Right. Would I buy an electric car? Okay, that's a difficult question. Actual electric cars themselves, fantastic to drive. I love them. And I think for most people, just the pure driving aspect, I think most people would like them more than petrol or diesel cars. They don't have they have one forward gear, so you don't have to worry about gear changes. So they're all effectively automatic. But because it's just one continuous gear, very smooth at pulling away. They're very quick off the line. They're very quiet.
I like that.
All good stuff for driving. And they also a lot of them have a function where you can do one pedal driving, which is really handy if you're not too, if you can't use your legs or aren't too dexterous.
fab.
So what happens is if you lift off the
Or
accelerator,
just like me really uncoordinated, let's face it.
yeah, all
really
that.
bad.
So what will happen is if you lift off the accelerator, the car will start braking. So if you're quite aware of what's happening in front of you, you can effectively drive with one pedal, which
It's
is
like
really
when you're on
good.
the motorway and you can put it in cruise control.
Yes,
Similar to that.
exactly. Yeah, and most of them will have adaptive cruise control as
Fab.
well, where you can just set that. So basically, I think they're fantastic to drive. I like them. My problem is I can't charge at home. Mm-hmm. And my local charging station, it's a very good one. It's a very fast charging station, but it's also become very expensive recently.
Wow.
So for me, it wouldn't make financial sense for me to have an electric car currently because I can't charge at home. There are other people that, even if they couldn't charge at home, it would still be fine. But for me, it doesn't work. So I want an electric car, but I can't really justify it at the moment because charging wise it'd cost me more than a petrol or diesel. Whereas to be clear for people in case they're worried that electric cars are expensive to charge, it varies hugely.
Yes.
So for me, my public one happens to be particularly expensive, and it's 85 pence per kilowatt hour. So to put that into context, if you had a sort of car with, say, a 60 kilowatt hour battery, which is a kind of a reasonable size, then suddenly you're looking at, what's that, 60 something pounds or whatever to fully charge it, which is then comparable to it's comparable to filling up a petrol or diesel car. So it's not so great. Whereas if I was to charge it at home and I had an EV car tariff, it would cost me about £4 or £5. So it's a really huge difference.
And you said it was quite a quick, like this. So what would be quick?
Okay. So
in relative terms.
So it's a 150 kilowatt charger.
Lost me already.
Which is reasonably fast. So on a car with a decent sized battery, you're probably looking at going from up to 80% charge in about sort of 30 minutes, something around that, 30 to 40.
Bad.
It depends on how fast the car can accept a charge. There are faster chargers out there now. They're not loads of them at the moment, but I drove to Wales in an electric car recently from Essex, and Reading Station had some of the newer, faster chargers, and my car charged in about 12 minutes, which was actually too fast.
From zero?
No, it was from about, I think I still had about 30% or something, but it was fast.
You could basically go to the loo, get a coffee.
Well, it was annoying because I kind of wanted it to take a bit longer because we wanted to go and feed the baby and get something to eat. And I was like, oh, it's going to be still charging when we're done. So if anything, that was too fast for us. But yeah, it's good to know that those things are happening. So the short answer is
summarise.
No, I personally can't buy one at the moment because of my circumstances, but I absolutely would have one if I could charge at home.
If you could.
Hurrah!
I'm going to let you find this one because I made an absolute hash of that last time.
This one's easier, I think. Should we do the joke first again?
Absolutely, because we all know how good at these jokes I am.
Who hides in the bakery at Christmas?
Hot cross bun.
No idea.
Close. Mince spice.
Well, to be fair, I haven't heard it. I mean, it's still rubbish, but I haven't heard them. At least they're new.
I know they're not.
Normally it's the same
ones.
old Christmas cracker joke. So yeah, at least these are a bit new. I'm enjoying
I love
these.
a Christmas cracker joke. Right. This is a question for all of us.
Ooh.
Where are your favourite places to go at Christmas time? And this is from Life with Brooke 0 on Instagram.
Thank you, Life with Brooke. So I am half German, and I would spend my childhood either having Christmas in the UK or in Germany with my grandma. And I mean, totally biased, the Germans know how to go hard at Christmas. And I'm not just talking about the beer, I'm talking about just I'm going to sound really snobbish right now, like the decorations, very, very traditional in the sense of very beautifully aesthetic. None of this tinsel, none of this British tinsel rubbish. Let's face it. I'm not impressed. I'm not amused. Really, like wooden toys and just as you can imagine, if you watch the Nutcracker, that kind of vibe. And I used to love that because obviously I was in Germany. It was an adventure for me. But one thing that I really, really struggled with as a child, because I am quite particular and I battle with anxiety, so I need to be quite structured, was the fact that in Germany, it's traditional to open gifts on Christmas Eve, because you don't get Santa Claus. Santa Claus comes when the wise men come, and on Christmas Eve you have the Christkind, which is an angel, and the Christkind delivers your gift. So it's not Santa Claus at all. So that blew my mind as a child anyway. And so on Christmas Eve, but you'd have to wait till the afternoon, and you'd get ushered into one of the other rooms, and the Christkind would miraculously come during the day. And they always just used to baffle me because obviously it just completely ruined my whole childhood. Basically ruined my child. No, it didn't ruin my childhood. But yeah, I remember having that and going back to school and probably ruining Christmas for other children because I was like, well, no, Santa doesn't deliver it all over the world, so your parents have been lying to you, haven't they? So that was me. Did that answer the question?
You did.
There you go.
It did. What about you? What's your favourite place, or where's your favourite place to go?
That's a good question. So I have quite a lot of family, so most of Christmas is spent visiting people, which is great. I love Christmas. I'm a huge Christmas person, so I love seeing my family. So yeah, I think my favourite place is actually Christmas Day, having all the family around, like 16 of us crammed in for Christmas dinner.
Where do you all sit?
So we have, we sort of put together a bunch of tables. Like we get a table in from the garden, family bring like chairs. And
Is
stuff
anyone
from
in
their
the
house.
shed?
And I mean, we're getting pretty close. I'm to extend out into the garden. Yeah. We just about squeeze in. Like the conservatory just becomes this kind of like banquet hall. And we don't like. Well, I don't live in some massive palace with this huge, but yeah,
and then we have the paupers come over from the village, and we feed them scraps of our turkey.
We've got like tables on different levels and different heights and different chairs, and like some people are, it's a bit of a squeeze.
It's basically like a Sainsbury's advert.
Yeah. And then my brother's in the kitchen trying to cook this gigantic meal in a normal sized like oven for all these people, and we can't all agree on what meat we want, so he's there cooking like beef and gammon and turkey and like so it's
Go vegetarian.
Yeah, nut roast. We'll add that in.
Nut roast.
Is that what is your go-to?
Yeah, I just
nut
eat
roast?
more Brussels.
Just forget the meat, just load on more Brussels. Yeah.
Give me a carrot.
So mine's probably seen my family. Although the only other thing I do quite like weirdly is the garden centres near us, all amazing at Christmas, and they all have like a German market, and I go there and I'm like loading up on like bratwurst and käsewurst and currywurst, and then what does everyone else want? Because I'm eating all of these. So I do quite like a Christmas garden centre.
Does that happen when you get older? Like I gravitate towards garden centres now. That's all I want to do.
They're great garden
Everyone's
centres,
like, "What do you want to do this weekend?" Should we go garden centre? Literally. No, have I lost you there?
I love a garden centre. Summer, love
it.
Around. Yeah,
love it. Pot around stuff. Come on, you've got babbers. And are they at the age now where they understand the concept or not really?
My older one is. He's 5, going on 6. He understands Christmas. He understands Christmas.
Shut up, so at 6.
Understands Christmas a lot. Of, can I have this? Can I have this? Can I have this? Can I have that? And my other one's 3, so he doesn't understand Christmas. But in terms of favourite places to go, I'm very similar to you. At Christmas is a big family affair. About 16 as well. Family members come over, all at my mum's house at Christmas. And also, I don't really like crowds. I hate crowds, in fact. I hate crowds. So I prefer to be indoors at Christmas, because I went to central London over the weekend. Oh my gosh, it was the worst experience. It was so busy. I just couldn't deal with it. So I just thought, and that's because it's Christmas, because everyone's doing Christmas shopping, Black Friday sales, all this stuff. And I just thought, oh no, I just can't deal with it. So yeah, I like to be indoors, family, in the warmth, surrounded by family, friends, lots of food, drink. Yeah.
But you know, last Christmas, because I knew this is I think the definition of sod's law. Last Christmas, because I knew it was going to be my last Christmas in London before I moved, and I'm always away for Christmas, so I either go back home or occasionally. My best friend's Mexican, so I get to go to Mexico sometimes. So I was like, no, I always miss out on people inviting me in London to events. You know, I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry, I'm not in London. So last year I was like, I'm going to stay in London. I'll get this abundance of parties and invitations. No, not one. Not one person. So I had Christmas Day on my own with my cats, and honestly, because I'm an ambivert, so I'm an introvert, extrovert. I love being around people for work purposes, but I regenerate and I rejuvenate and I, get my energy back being on my own. And I absolutely, no disrespect to my family or friends, I loved spending Christmas on my own with the cats. This one time, I absolutely loved it. I did the whole, FaceTimed everyone in the morning, but I loved it. And I think for anyone who might be listening who doesn't like Christmas, my father passed away in November, so Christmas is always a bittersweet, since that happened. For anybody who doesn't have families to go to or isn't a big Christmas lover or physically can't go places, I just want you to know that, that's fine. Take the pressure off yourself, because sometimes just having that time to eat a load of rubbish food, watch Home Alone, chill out. Do not, please don't take this time to compare yourself to other people. And I think I definitely connected with that last year. I probably had one of my nicest Christmases that I've had. I'm probably really insulting everyone in my life right now. But the message is, please be kind to yourself over this period.
Absolutely.
It's all relative.
Yeah.
And you can find your own joy, whether in, if that's being on your own with your 2 naked cats. Just for context, I've got 2 cats that I have not shaven. They are naturally just naked.
Oh, I'm glad you explained that bit.
No, right.
Can we roll back to the naked cats bit? They normally clothed.
What kind of music do Santa's elves listen to? That's quite an easy one. Come on, guys.
I don't. Why am I
Slade.
Sleigh bells.
Rap music.
Oh, of course, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's rubbish.
Oh,
yeah.
I just got that. Okay.
Yeah,
Why am
fair
I
enough.
so rubbish at this?
I know, right?
This is why I turned down Mastermind twice. Because
What would be your subject?
Buffy the
Martin?
Vampire Slayer.
Wow.
But the person that won it and the highest scoring recently did Buffy.
Oh,
I know,
that's
so I'm like,
annoying.
you've just ruined it for me. Ruined it. Anyway,
I'm gonna read
I
this
digress.
question. I'll give this question for you to read.
I've not got my glasses on, so we're going to give it a go. Good go.
They are in front of you if you want them.
Thanks for the
go
thank.
without.
Just don't spoil the illusion. What was the best memory of 2023, and what are you looking forward to the most next year? From Paul Blackburn. So he is a readership panel. So thank you, Paul, for your question. Gosh, that's a difficult one, isn't it?
The year's a long time.
Yeah, and I think very much echoing what I've just said about not putting too much pressure on yourself and not comparing yourself. I think sometimes I do have that tendency to compare myself with other people in the industry that I'm in. I think when you come from a minority group where you might not have the same opportunities as everybody else, you are painfully aware that you only have like a very small pot of opportunities. So it can be really, really difficult not to get the green-eyed monster and feel like you're not doing enough. So I think for me on a personal level, moving out of London and just being more mindful that what I'm doing is amazing.
Yes.
And celebrating those little wins, which I am awful for. And I think even though I wrote a book last year, one of my biggest regrets was I had that moment of, I've written a book. What's next?
Yeah, it's always
And
what's
I didn't savor the moment. So I want to personally next year savor those little moments. So that's going to be my resolution. That's going to be my goal for next year. I think that's what it is. I think this year was, again, so successful and so amazing, and I got to work on so many wonderful projects, but I need to just give myself a pat on the back.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think what you were saying there as well about comparing yourself to other people, that's gotten so much worse with the popularity of social media, because all you ever see are the highlights of everyone else's lives.
Totally.
Because no one's putting on there that bad belly today and I'm skint.
I know. My cat just pooed outside of the litter box and I just rolled in it with my wheelchair and now it's all over the house, which happens multiple times to me a week. Let's face it.
Exactly. Yeah, I've got a cat who's constipated at the moment and is trying to poo everywhere in the house. So yeah, I can.
Oh, God
and I'm not putting that on social media.
So, you should though. Poor baby.
Poor little beans, yeah. So.
Have you got him some little medication?
Oh yeah, she's got some laxatives coming. So
be prepared.
Yeah, can't wait for that. Then we'll have a different problem.
Just don't go downstairs in the middle of the night without any lights on. That's all I'm saying.
Make sure I put my slippers on first. But yeah, no one's posting that stuff on social media, so don't be swayed by everyone's fantastic lives on social, because all you're ever getting is the highlights and the best bits. No one's putting pictures of themselves at 3 a.m. when they're getting up to a crying baby. So
cat poop.
Exactly.
Oh, you're clearing up cat poop.
What about you?
Poo.
What about you? Yeah, there we go. Go on then. What's your poo story?
I don't have a food story. Well, I do, because I've got 2 young kids, but we're not going to go into that. What's my best moment of 2023? I think professionally, a lot's happened. A lot of good stuff's happened with the pod, different awards that the magazines won, personal or my own professional nominations as well. It's all been great, wonderful. I'm very humbly grateful for it all. Personally, it's just been a good year. Like, my boys just are always doing something different. Like, they just amaze me every day. And I'm just becoming much more confident in my role as a mother. I know it's like 6 years down the line, but mothers listening will know that, you know, it's not, you don't just wake up one day.
Of course not.
Just, you know, it's a journey. And I'm constantly learning. They're constantly teaching me things as well, because you actually have to learn from your kids. Your kids will teach you things. And yeah, they've taught me a lot of things, and I'm enjoying the ride. Some days more than others, but here we are.
And that's why we have mulled wine.
Yes, exactly. What about you, Matt?
Oh, I don't want to sound like the same answer, but yeah, I had my first child this year in. Oh, obviously I didn't give birth to her, but my partner did. So yeah, I had my first daughter in March of this year. So yeah, that's been exciting. I think the other day she learned to wave, and that was like, wow, like she can learn things. She's a human. She's an actual person. That was really exciting. That was a real highlight. So yeah, I guess I can't say anything other than the birth of my first child. But yeah, and then professionally, I don't know if there's any particular one standout thing. There's been some really interesting cars coming on the scheme this year. It's been fun driving some of the new cars and seeing what's available, and all the new tech that's getting added and becoming more commonplace has been exciting.
Do you get to drive them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is that part you get paid to do that?
Yeah. Quite a lot of it is sort of carrying mobility scooters and wheelchairs
I was gonna
and trying to get them in the boot and the back and going, oh, it doesn't quite fit unless I move this seat. And also a lot of it is very boring stuff with tape measures and measuring poles and spirit levels and going,
okay, that's more like it.
Yeah,
that's more like it.
That's more
where the taxpayers' money go to. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a lovely way to end our little cracker surprise. But I've got an extra surprise for you all, because I have been on social media all of yesterday badgering, shall I say badgering, poking with a virtual stick my followers, because I wanted them to engage and send in their questions. So, in true Christmas stylio?
Yeah, why not?
Stylio?
Go with it.
Stylio. In true. No more wine for me. No more wine for me. In true Christmas stylio, I've got a hat here, Christmas hat, with some questions. So, I'm going to dig deep. I'm going to dig deep. Dig deep and pull one out of.
That's some serious ASMR.
I know, right? Woo! Ta-da! Right, the question comes. Oh, I've got
a bonus question.
I've got it stuck to my jumper. There we go. Okay, so the question is: any hacks for accessible storage in vehicles? And that is from Tanvi Vaz.
Okay, so hopefully I'm understanding the question correctly. So there's a couple of things that spring to mind. One of them is if you have a WAV. So a WAV is a wheelchair accessible vehicle, in case anyone's not aware of that. It's often a problem with storage there because the boot is often the ramp.
There's no
so
boot.
You don't really have a boot. Yeah. So I know of at least one of the WAV makers that does a storage unit. That basically fits on the side of the car, inside the car, but to the side, so it's out the way of the ramp, so you can still get in. And within that, you can sort of strap in a bunch of suitcases. There's also I think there's like a lockable unit as well, so you can put smaller bits in there if you want to, and they're not going to fall out when you go around a corner. And I believe you can. And I'd have to double check this, but I believe you can customize them as well. So if there's anything that, regular stuff that, so maybe you can have a wine cooler put in.
Wine.
So there is that is an option if you've got a WAV. There's also, if you're not in for a WAV, one of the cars that does spring to mind for what I think is actually quite useful accessible storage is there is a feature on the Hondas called Magic Seats. And basically what happens is, rather than having to get everything in the boot, because often your boot's taken up by a chair or whatever, hoist, they take up space, you can actually lift up the rear seats from the bottom, and you have like a big load area in the back of the car. What have I done now? But it does mean that if you've got to store anything heavy, or if you've got to store a chair or whatnot, storing it in the rear of the car rather than in the boot, it's a lot lower. You don't have to lift things up as high, so it's a lot easier to sort of lift things in and out of the car if you've only got to get over the lower lip rather than getting it up and into the boot. Hopefully that part is some sort of answer to that question.
Yes, and that's it for this special Christmas episode of the Motability Lifestyle Pod. Thanks to our producer, Charlotte Mason at Insanity Studios, and our editorial assistant, Lucy Rose at Wonderly.
If you like this episode, click follow or subscribe. Tell all your friends, and please leave a review and rating if you're listening, or like and comment if you are watching. If you want to tell us what you thought, or if there's something you'd like to hear, come and say hello on Instagram. And for some behind the scenes footage and content, follow us on TikTok. Yes, that is right, we are down with the kids. You can also watch the full video on YouTube. You can find us on Motability_Lifestyle_Mag. Finally, if you want more information about Motability Scheme, go to motability.co.uk. Or if you want to learn more about Motability Foundation, visit motability.org.uk. And a huge thank you to everybody that's listening or watching. A very Merry Christmas, no matter what you're doing. I have been Samantha Renke.
I'm Sophie-Marie Odum.
And I'm Matt Lizzimore.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yay! Oh, I wish it could be Matt. Car chat every day.
Oh, I'm glad I got a little melody today.
Yay! I was rehearsing that all last night.
It shows, it was excellent.
Seamless.